A long-awaited counteroffensive by Ukraine has begun in an attempt to take back territory held by Russia in the country's south. Ukraine has been tight-lipped around operational details of the offensive that started Monday, but defense analysts say the mission will be a pivotal moment for the nation in the so far 6-month-long war. "This is everything for them," said Andrew Rassiolis, a defense expert with the Canadian Global Affairs Institute. The Ukrainian current political objective is the forced military expulsion of all Russian forces from occupied Ukraine, including Crimea. It must now physically conduct a substantial counteroffensive to force the Russian military to leave all of Ukraine. That's why this offensive is fundamental. Following weeks of buildup, Ukraine's Southern Military Command said on Monday it had begun a counteroffensive in the region. Fighting has been concentrated in the east since April, after Russia failed to topple Kyiv in its wide-scale invasion that started February 24. Since then, the war has grinded out in Donbas, which has seen several cities fall into Russian hands such as Luhansk and Mariupol. In June, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said Russian forces occupied 20% of his nation. Ukraine has regularly stated its intention to retake its south. Zelenskyy said in his nightly address on Monday that Kyiv's objective is to push Russia out of the country, and retake Crimea, which Moscow annexed in 2014. With fighting ongoing in cities like Donetsk and Kharkiv, operational details around the true scale of the counteroffensive have been scarce. But Ukraine has acknowledged its offensive involves the southern city of Kherson, which fell to Russia in the early days of the war. For weeks, Ukrainian forces have targeted ammunition depots in the region and large bridges across the Dnipro River that are vital to bringing supplies to the Russian troops. Ukraine also reported destroying a pontoon crossing the Dnipro this week that Russian forces were setting up, and hitting a dozen command posts in several areas of the Kherson with artillery fire. Both sides have claimed battlefield successes. Moscow has denied reports of Ukrainian progress and said its troops had routed Ukrainian forces. Ukraine's Southern Military Command said Thursday it would not immediately name settlements in the south it had recaptured to avoid prompting Russian strikes on them. This demonstrates to the Ukrainian population and to Ukraine's allies that no longer is Ukraine fighting a purely defensive fight and absorbing what the Russians are bringing in. They have now amassed enough forces with enough confidence, enough resources to switch over and to undertake offensive action, said Mark Popov, a retired lieutenant colonel and former armor officer who commanded a Canadian combat team in Afghanistan. To have an enemy that figured back in February would be an easy win, then encountered stiff resistance, became bogged down, and all of a sudden, Ukraine has been able to switch over to the offense. That sends a message. Retaking Kherson would be significant for Ukraine, said Dennis Thompson, a retired Canadian Major General and former commander of NATO's Task Force Kandahar. Kherson is the only regional capital that Russia has been able to capture since it invaded 6 months ago. It is a major economic hub that lies north of the Crimean Peninsula and has coasts on the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. It is considered one of Moscow's prized possessions since the full-scale war began. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you can be alerted to our next video. We'll see you again soon on Warzone.